Vikings versus Lions, the preview show.
Isn't it almost amazing that we can make this many mistakes and still be in the game at Lambeau? We're still in the Arrowhead game.
Yeah.
We're still in this game. When you think about this, I was talking to Manbear going, we made mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and we were one drive away from winning. Now, what would happen if this team was mentally tough and didn't make all these blunders? What would happen? The Vikings would almost be unstoppable.
They would be. Yeah, they would.
Good Morning Gjallarhorn. The gang is here. We are going to discuss this Sunday's game where the Detroit Lions come to town to play our Minnesota Vikings. How you doing, Drew?
No one cares how I'm doing.
Of course they do.
We're waiting for we're getting on with the next game after that Monday nighter. I'm doing good.
Good. What did you think of that? I sent you guys that comment we got from on Daily Norseman. I gotta find it now. From that Seattle Seahawks fan that's been listening to our show now for over a year.
Really?
Yep. I wanted to give a shout out. He goes, as a Hawks fan, I realize your content isn't targeted to me, but I just wanted to say I really enjoyed this podcast so much I've been following it since last year. Love the camaraderie between the three of you. It's a great show. And he goes, he also hates playing the Vikes. They scare him every damn time, but he'll be rooting for us the rest of the season. That is up until we meet Seattle in the playoffs.
We haven't beat them in 12 years, but they scare him. That's a bunch of shit. They don't scare him. Come on, man.
But that was...
You gave me a scare there. You gave me a scare at the beginning of that because you said I want to give a shout-out. When you said chat, it frightened me. I didn't know what I was going to see next.
It's for our Indian Hawks fan. So, Indian Hawks fan, we appreciate you listening. Thanks.
Yeah, Indian Hawks fan. Thank you.
We are an army of one now.
Yes. Ted, how are you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be against the law. Let's light this together. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. We're coming off that wonderfully...
Terrible. It was terrible. There's nothing wonderful about it.
Discouraging game on Monday night. But, as typical Vikings, we're going against a team that we should easily... Yes, football god.
Fuck!
By the numbers.
What are they doing here?
But, well, that's the traditional pattern. They get beat, and then they go stomp somebody. Stomp somebody that's below 500, right? And Detroit is below 500. Now, however, they are starting Blough. I don't know if he's a rookie or if he's just never played before.
He's a rookie, and he threw for 280 yards against the Bears defense, which is a defense that I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with current events, is better than the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings defense.
Which probably means he's going to look like Joe Montana against Minnesota.
Well, they have the 7th-ranked offense and the 7th best passing offense, and that's both higher than us. So
yeah, but you can't give that all the... Yeah.
Yes, they do. They have the 7th-ranked passing offense, and we're 13th.
On total.
Yeah, there you go. It should be easy. Easy game.
It's that's on NFL numbers and their total production. But yes, it's 7th. And you can't give that all to Blough because he's only played one game. But it's one of those things. I said it for a reason. Not to piss off the football gods, but because it's one of those trap-like games, where right now the the line is in double digits. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I hate double-digit betting lines because
lines.
It is too close. There's too many things that can go wrong. We've all seen it. We're all Vikings fans that could put this down the crapper. We could be in that implosion time period of the season. You know, we did it last year. What's to say we don't implode this year? Any comments other than being mad at me for saying it should be easy? On paper, it should be. But we know better. The football gods know better. Everybody knows better.
Yeah, the Vikings average 376 yards a game offensively. Detroit averages 377. That's 1 yard more, but it's equal to where we're at. We're 7th and 8th, so we're equally across the board offensively. We're pretty much the same.
Yeah,
what's their running?
What's that?
What's their running game rank, Drew?
Their Lions' offensive running game is ranked 18th, and their passing game is 7th. So, I mean, their real problem as a team is defense. I mean, offensively, and I don't know, Ted, if that was mostly generated during the Matt Stafford time before he broke his back or whatever, but still, 7th is 7th. They want to throw the ball. They're not a very good running team. I don't consider 18th being really anything to worry about because, after last week, I worry about everything after that performance. But, yeah, that was – we fell – the Vikings fell from the 5th rushing defense to 15th in 1 week.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude. It's bad.
That's what happens when you try to shut down the pass and leave the running lanes wide open.
That's a big drop-off for 1 week. I mean, the Vikings overall, Ted, let me tell you, the KC game, when was that, week 9?
Whatever, yeah.
A month ago? We were 5th. I looked back at my sheets. We were 5th overall. We're going into this Detroit game 16th in a month.
Wow.
So things are falling apart, and they're falling apart fast, gentlemen. Something has to be figured out.
Well, I'll tell you, I think everything is good because I saw right before we started recording that Xavier Rhodes apologized for his outburst and said he'll be better.
Yes.
So I think all is well now with the Vikings secondary.
I saw that too.
They'll be fine.
Super Bowl, homeboy!
See you in Miami.
You can't blow up like that on the sidelines over something that's your fault. It's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, was it you, Drew, that put up where they showed you showed a screenshot of the formation right before that 60-yard touchdown? Because after the play on the sideline, if I'm remembering things that happened Monday, he came up. Well, Anthony Barr came up to him and he just kind of
shoved him in the chest.
Blew off Barr.
Yeah.
And then he went to Harrison Smith, like, where were you over the top? And Harrison Smith was blitzing, right?
Yes, he was in the box.
He came off the edge and blitzed on that play.
Yeah, the play design on that play had Harrison Smith at the line of scrimmage off the edge, and it had
Anthony Harris on the other side of the field because they had 2 receivers on that side.
And when I froze that picture and put it up there, Ted, the one thing that was funny is Rhodes' head was turned right towards where Smith was standing.
Yeah.
So,
there's no way he couldn't have known he had nobody up top to help him. He had to know he was
more
one-on-one.
frightening is that if he didn't notice him, his head's not in the game. That's what really – that's the bigger concern to me is he's not thinking out there.
Yeah.
Well, Luke Braun, who does Locked On Vikings, his theory is that he's thinking too much, that he's in his head, that he's gone full tilt in the gambling sense where things aren't going right, so he's trying to double down and he's trying to do things, but it's in his head that he goes, I made a mistake, I got to fix it, so he's thinking more, and the more he thinks, the more he makes mistakes because he's catching himself out of position, he's slow, he's not reading things right, he's not playing the ball he used to. He used to be the lockdown receiver where all he cared about was the football, right? And his receivers. Now he doesn't have the skills anymore, not making the right decisions to do that. So they're playing him off. Well, he's now got to read routes and read formations and read this and read that and know where the safeties are and who's got what responsibilities. And that all that additional thinking of having to know that, it's it's colliding and causing literally a tilt like on a pinball machine. And it's locking up, and he's not making proper decisions. He's not flowing. It's not instinctual anymore. And that's killing him.
So
go ahead, Ted.
What you're saying is something goes wrong, and he psyched himself out, and things snowball, kind of like Michigan against Ohio State.
Exactly.
Sorry,
I can't even argue with it. That was the same kind of snowball effect. I have nothing to say.
Nails you, I thought. I mean, that's a good point. Yeah, and Rhodes has gotten he gets progressively like, and I hate to use an analogy because I know you're a Michigan fan, Drew, but it's like anytime you start thinking about it, you only make the condition worse, and that's exactly what's happening. Somebody I saw, I don't know if it was on Daily Norseman or on Twitter, is it time to bench Xavier Rhodes? And the only reason I say no is because Mike Hughes isn't any better. And then if you bench him or you don't want to play Hughes, then you got to kick Mac Alexander out to the side. And I think he's way better as a slot dude. So I think the Vikings are going to roll with Rhodes. And again, we've said it before. They're going to have a lot of tough questions to ask about whether or not Xavier Rhodes is going to be a member of the Minnesota Vikings next year.
Well, there's a few reporters that have commented that Xavier Rhodes looks thicker than he used to.
I was going to ask you guys about that. When I see the replays and watch him, doesn't he? He looks like fatter. I mean, I don't know what it is.
Fatter, or does he put on more muscle?
It's bulkier. He looks like realistic Randy said he should be on the Peloton for 100 days. I mean, he just looks big. He looks like out of sorts or something. He looks big. He looks like a linebacker out there. He looks slow. His whole body build is
slow. Yeah.
His body build is bigger. He looks like Barry Bonds from the Pirates to the Giants to me.
And there are athletes that put on too much muscle mass, and it deters their performance. So, we know there's athletes that get fat.
The reason I say you got to sit him, and I understand what Ted's saying, but when you come to the sidelines, he's acting like Harrison Smith was behind him and vacated the spot. That's what and everybody knows that's not true. So if you're over there throwing a tantrum, and every single guy and coach on the sideline, every players and coaches all know that you're full of shit, that's when you got to, sometimes if you sit a guy down for a game, and I mentioned this in the post I wrote a while back about hockey players, sometimes they sit them down, they put them up in the booth to watch when they're really having problems on the ice. They'll put them up in the booth to watch for a couple games, bring them back down. They're night and day. They're completely different. And sometimes if you sit a guy down, he can gather his thoughts and get himself, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes benching for a guy will do him some good if he wants to come back.
Well, to that, though.
Can Holton Hill play any worse, Ted? I mean, come on.
Probably not.
Or Hughes. And we talk
Hughes
about.
Can be worse. Hughes has been terrible as a cover guy. He's been absolutely horrid. So, no, Hughes is not the answer.
Well, they have that passer rating. Here, get this passer rating that I heard on Courtney Cronin's show. 132 are the quarterback passer ratings against Rhodes. 132, which is really bad. Holton Hill, even though it's a smaller sample size, Holton Hill is 67.
Really?
And I know it's less work but it's still numbers are numbers. Why not? Why not give him a chance?
Well, to your point about him being benched, after that, I'm pretty sure it was the touchdown. Zimmer did bench him, and he benched him, and I didn't see him for a while. The next time I remember seeing Xavier Rhodes on the field was when he caused that fumble of DK Metcalf. So maybe it did a little bit. I don't know. Something, but that Xavier Rhodes has gone from a shutdown guy that took away one side of the field to a guy they're going to throw at until he proves he can stop them. And he can't stop anybody right now. I mean, it's a complete 180 from 2 years ago.
My point is, it seems like an avalanche at this point. You got weak play on the field. You got misreads, guys burning him for touchdowns, and he gets personal fouls. He's on the sidelines pushing Barr's trying to explain to him the design of pushing teammates, yelling, having a tantrum. Sit him down for a game and get his fucking head straight and go, it doesn't hurt to do that to a player now and then. And at this point, why not try that? And then he comes back after a game, and maybe he's better.
Hopefully, yeah. I'd be willing to give it a shot. I don't know that. Again, I just don't know that Holton Hill over an entire game would be better.
No, I don't know that either, but I know a wide receiver sprinting by a guy for a that 60-yard touchdown, you can't have that.
That's true. Yeah,
you can't give up one of those every day. You're not going to win games.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So I don't know. Zimmer loves him though, so he's probably not going to get benched.
Probably not.
My deal is, yeah, Hughes has showed moments, but he's not been. He's obviously coming off last year's injury to the knee, but he was a first-round draft choice. Holton Hill obviously has skills too, and is valued because if he didn't, he would have been dropped before the end of his 8-game suspension. They wouldn't have kept him, just because of cost or whatever. They wouldn't have dropped him. They would have, they value him, but
Sure.
they're not playing him. If Rhodes or Lanes or any of those guys start playing like crap, pull them off and get these other guys in. If for anything, fresh legs, right? Because if they're running long all the time and they're getting beat, well, give those legs a rest. Give them a series off, and put one of the other guys in. It's not going to hurt.
You're wearing me out. Fred screams out. Sorry.
It's just, to me,
makes sense, David.
Yeah, it did, and I think after they benched him and he came back in, he played better. He caused that fumble. So yeah, maybe there's something to it. They got to figure out something though. There's only 4 games left, and this secondary is not ready for the playoffs. They're just not. They're going to get crushed. They're going to get smoked in the playoffs.
And Harrison Smith didn't look top of this game, but we expected that because he had the hammy and then just 2 weeks off, and he's playing through it, so he wasn't 100%. Thankfully, Ant Harris was, but
God, what about that middle of the interior of the defensive line, guys? They were just getting blown out Monday night.
They were getting pushed into lockers like a kid getting bullied in high school all night long.
Well, they said with Linval's surgery, that's normally a 6 to 8 week recovery time, right? He came back after 3?
Jalen Holmes, where's he at?
He hasn't done anything.
He's due to play though, right?
Well, he wasn't even active last weekend.
Neither was Mataafa.
Nope.
And I didn't see Jaleel Johnson even play. Was he? I don't know who was in there, but it was just big, giant gaps that Carson was running through, and I'm going, holy shit.
Remember when everybody was fired up that Shamar Stephen came back to shore up the run game?
Right. And the whole idea of those 2 interior guys is they're supposed to consume blockers, right? So it frees up the linebackers to come in and fill the holes. That didn't happen.
Damn it. What was that number about Shamar Stephen compared to Richardson that you had? What was that again?
Last year, Tony Richardson had 47 pressures.
Sheldon
Richardson.
Tony Richardson's a retired fullback.
That's right. Well, I'm sure he pressured too. But anyways, Sheldon Richardson had 47 QB pressures. Shamar Stephen this year so far has 6.
I mean, that was well timed, wasn't it? It had to be.
Hey, we got 2 of the best defensive ends in the league, probably the best pair in the league. They've been leading. I didn't look this week, but up until last week, they were like number 1 and 2 in quarterback pressures. Not sacks, but quarterback pressures. They're up there in sacks too. But when they come and close from the outside, and you got nothing to stop a quarterback going up the middle, the quarterback steps up.
The outside guys push him to the middle, and the middle guys get him. It's not that it's simple. It's in football for 100 years.
Well, it's supposed to be that way, and we had it last year with a healthy Linval and Sheldon Richardson. We do not have it this year because they couldn't afford Sheldon Richardson.
Well, we'll see.
I remember the beginning of the year I said the Vikings defense was going to regress, and people got #mad, #online at me.
Uh-huh.
They're older. They're Sheldon Richardson didn't come back, and I thought that was a big loss for the defensive line.
Regressed?
Well,
They're like Hans Gruber hanging onto that watch and holding, right? Looking up at them. They're at that point right now. They're free falling, dude.
Off Nakatomi Plaza.
It is Christmas season, by the way.
That is a Christmas movie. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Absolutely 100%.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. We agree across the board.
All right. Yeah, it's bad, man. And somebody asked today, will the Vikings win a Super Bowl with Mike Zimmer? And I'm kind of the opinion if they don't get it done this year, it's probably not going to happen because you can kind of see the defense aging. Harrison Smith was a little like a step slower. We've talked about Rhodes ad nauseum. There's questions about Trey Waynes. Are they going to re-sign him? Is Rhodes coming back? The defensive line has the interior defensive line has some issues.
Well,
it kind of feels right now that it's going to be It kind of feels right now that this is going to be a very different defensive look next year.
It should be. It will be.
So yeah, I don't know, man. They got 4 games to figure it out, and then hopefully 4 more in the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yeah, they are still 8-4. They're in the thick of things, so they could, they don't control their own destiny for a bye or the division crown. We're going to need a little bit of help, but still, they're 8-4, and they're not.
Well, they do for a bye. If they win out,
they're not the Bengals.
They've clinched the bye.
No, they won't.
If they win out, yes.
No, they won't.
Or
they'll
not
be
the
tied
bye.
with Green Bay at 12-4.
Disregard. I was thinking wild card. No, if they win out, they have a chance to catch Green Bay if Green Bay loses a division game between now and then.
See, and this is what irritates me about...
Other than the Vikings. They have to lose to either Detroit or Chicago.
You're a mean one.
This is what irritates me about losing that Seattle game. Because they've lost control of their own destiny. I mean, realistically, the Vikings are going to be the number 6 seed. Because they by losing to Seattle, well, I mean, San Francisco's the 5 seed now. But they're still 2 games behind San Francisco for the 5 seed with 4 to play.
Huge game. That was a huge loss.
That's another NFC game they lost. They still have, the 3 division games and they got the 3 division games at home and the Chargers on the road. I still have a feeling the Vikings aren't going to win out. I think they're going to drop 1 more game and finish 11-5. But that's just me.
I kind of have that feeling, being a Vikings fan, they still got a clunker left in them, don't you? That's the kind of vibe.
Well,
I tell you, going to LA and clunking.
Yeah,
the LA game.
That's it.
That's the Charger game. Is scaring me right now.
I was listening to Pro Football Talk or one of the other ones. They were they're talking about setting the Chargers quarterback down.
Phillip Rivers.
Setting him down and bringing in their backup. Because they've got nothing to play for the rest of the season.
Scary team, those ones that have nothing to play for.
Well, and you bring in a backup, and what happens when the Vikings play a backup?
Oh, it gets shredded.
First things first.
And on grass. That game's on grass.
Take care of the Blough, baby. We got to take care of the Blough.
Yeah.
Things first is Sunday, because this is no walk in the park either. Yeah. Like Ted said, he's moving the ball against the Bears. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Bears have a better defense than us.
Yeah.
So if it's getting almost 300 on the Bears, the Vikings better not be a bunch of Blauhards and drop the ball. You better get it together. Big challenge. It's going to be a big challenge, but we are back at home. And
where our fans make a difference.
If a team runs on you like that, the next week you're shutting down the run. So I'm kind of hoping for the bounce back there.
Yeah, let's hope so.
I got a stat for you.
Hit me.
Home records. There are only 2 teams that are undefeated at home.
Home records?
Home records.
Oh.
This season, 2019, there are only 2 teams that are undefeated at home.
Minnesota Vikings are one of them.
Mm-hmm. And
Patriots.
Bingo.
No, they lost. Oh, it's the Patriots?
Yeah, at home. They haven't lost in Foxborough.
Well, that one right out of Easter.
I looked that up this morning.
So let's keep that home
record
home
going.
Going.
I think they will win. I mean, it just – I will say that the Vikings have done a pretty good job this year of when they've had a good game, the following week they've bounced back and had a bad game, they bounced back and had a good game. You know, when they lost to the Packers, they came back and blew out the Raiders. When they lost to the Bears, they came back and blew out whoever. Not the Raiders, somebody. I don't know. It was earlier in the year. When they lost to the Chiefs, they came back the next week and won. So we'll see. That Monday night game irritates me.
Lions defense is bad, though, guys. It's bad.
What are they ranked? What's the Lions defense ranked?
Right. Lions are ranked 29th overall. The Lions are ranked 30th against the pass and 23rd against the run.
Wow.
So they are on the lower end of everything. So really
I guess the Lions are not respecting the process that Matt Patricia is instilling. Sit up straight.
Football Outsiders has them a little bit higher than that.
Injury rundown, guys. What's going on with the injuries for the Vikings? You guys got any word on anything?
I haven't seen an injury report other than what PFF's showing.
Dalvin Cook has said he's definitely playing. He reiterated that again, that he's going to play, period. So I don't know. I haven't seen an injury report today.
Who comes in for him? Who comes in for him again?
Rashad Hill, who I thought, all things considered, going up against Jadeveon Clowney with really just getting backup reps during the week. I know he's one of the lowest graded PFF scores, but I thought he did okay. I don't think Hill's a long-term answer. I think Reef is obviously much better. I think Reef's had a pretty good season, actually, all things considered. But Hill did okay. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't, Matt Khalil like.
There was the Seattle Seahawks got 0 sacks.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the line did okay. Cousins had plenty of time to set up and throw.
Yeah, coming in to go up against Clowney, that's no easy chore.
No.
Well, okay. And then there's, of course, Thielen. We're all waiting for him to come back.
Yeah.
And our Holmes, undisclosed questionable.
Jalen Holmes?
Mm-hmm.
And Kentrell Brothers, injury report for 7 years. No, he actually got a tackle last week. I saw the box score. I pinned it up on my wall.
Special teams, baby. Special teams.
That's right. Those count too. Special teams count
they
too.
Do. Mm-hmm. And speaking of special teams, I looked at Football Outsiders to see in depth on special teams because we have a special teams issue, in my opinion, humble opinion.
That's what you get when you put a lieutenant in charge of shit.
Yeah, that's true. Detroit is ranked 10th overall on special teams.
I never see the special teams rankings.
They dropped, but the Vikings are 18th, holding steady.
They're okay. I mean, Bailey missed that extra point, but I got to say he's had a pretty good year.
Yeah, but it isn't just that. It's just that when Hughes goes back to receive punts, that scares me because he seems to handle it different every single time. Yeah, he calls for a fair catch, but I mean, how he physically catches the ball seems odd. And it's just
we have fumbled more kicks than any team in the league, Ted.
Uh,
And then kick returns. We lead the league in kick return fumbles. Yes, we do.
Can't do that this Sunday.
And that whole fake
you cannot give what are the Lions 3-9-1? You cannot give a 3-9-1 team turnovers, a short field, and hope. You must snuff out hope early. I mean,
because they got to
come out. Honestly, I'm not even kidding. They got to come out like that Miami game. The first game, Stefanski was the offensive coordinator last year. Remember when they went out and scored touchdowns on their first 3 drives, went up 21-0, and the game was pretty much over before halftime? They got to do that this Sunday. It's just as much for them, the Vikings, as it is to disrespect the process Matt Patricia is trying to instill in Detroit.
What you're saying is the Vikings can't beat themselves.
Yes, exactly.
They can't beat themselves.
Come on.
They've got to go out.
You're racing, Ted Glover. When does this team ever beat themselves? Yeah. You can't give them any extra life.
No life.
And in that Miami game, it went from 21-0 to 21-17. So the Vikings they'll give you a chance regardless of where you're at. And we don't stomp teams out. But yeah, we need to take care of the football because we did enough of that in Seattle. We coughed it up too many times. The Vikings just need to get back to fundamentals with their run, everything. Shit can that game, throw it away. You're 8-4. You're going home. Kick their ass like you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to look at the guy next to him, the defense is Rhodes or whatever, and go, forget this. We're not doing this shit anymore. The Vikings are down to giving up 20 points a game. The Vikings have never given up 20 points a game, I don't think, in the Zimmer era. They've never averaged that.
I don't think so either.
And they're down to 20.2 starting this week. Come on. They're better than this. They got better players than this, David. They do.
Speaking of games, normally we do trivia at this point in the show, but since it's the second go-around with the Detroit Lions, we're going to skip trivia. We did it the first time. Go watch our show. It's in the stream feed. Anyways, we do have something new for you. What is it, Drew?
That was a really good intro. I want to give my challenge flag thing, but we'll do that later.
We'll do it at the end.
We got the $20,000 pyramid. That's when the music cues. What do you want first, the Lions version or the alumni version? We got two games today.
Let's do the Lions.
Okay. One. You got 1 minute on the clock. I'll start this clock, unless Dave wants to keep track. We're just going to let you answer through, and then there's not going to be a timer at the end. We're just going to look and see how long it took you.
Okay.
That way you get to have all the questions. The clock will start at the end of my first question asked. You ready?
Yep.
Question 1. Gary Moeller, Dick Duran, Marty Morningweg.
Former Lions coaches.
Exactly right. Next question. Dutch Clark, Bobby Lane, Doak Walker, Joe Schmidt, Chuck Hughes, Barry Sanders.
Former Lions running backs.
Detroit Lions Hall of Famers.
Yes. Number 3, disaster. 5 different starting quarterbacks. Kevin Smith, leading rusher. Calvin Johnson, leading receiver.
16 season.
That's right. 2 more. Since 1961. Twice per year. Only one in the NFC North without a head-to-head postseason meeting.
Have not. They've never won the NFC North.
Chuck Norman, Dexter Bussey.
Say that again.
Bill Cap versus Dexter Bussey. Forget that question.
Thanksgiving, 1969.
Yes. Last, Chris Claiborne, Riley Reif, Chris Lewinsky, Amir Abdullah.
Former Lions
players that have played for the Lions and the Vikings.
106.
Ah!
You got them all. That's pretty, so the reason we're going up with the time is so we can track your record every week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because we're probably going to do this game again.
It's a good game.
I like it.
Okay. You throw my bird here. Jeffrey's trying to bite me. Now we get to the alumni.
He just wants some camera time.
Yes, he does. He's really angry right now. Okay. Here we go with the alumni version. Now, Ted, remember, these are all draft picks by the Vikings, not just guys who played for the Vikings, guys that were drafted by the Vikings.
Okay.
I'm going to name players. You're going to tell me what school they came from.
Oh, okay.
We clear the timer, and it will start after I read the first couple names on this list. Number 1, first team, Asher Allen, Blair Walsh, Greg Blue.
Georgia.
First Tark. Yes. Number 2, Harrison Smith, Alan
Notre Dame.
Page. Yes. Number 3, Doug Kingsrider, Carl Eller, Noel Jenke.
Minnesota.
Yes. 3 for 3. Number 4, Jasper Brinkley, Troy Williamson.
South Carolina.
Yes. Number 5, Brian Robeson, Chris Boyd.
Texas.
Yes. Number 6, last one. Toughie, they get harder as you go. Brian Habib, Rick Fenney, Doug Martin, Tim Meamber, Mark Stewart. And I can't give you anymore because that's all that were drafted by this school. Come on, baby. Rick Fenny and Doug Martin. Fenny.
I can't remember what school he went to.
Oh!
Penn State?
What?
Penn State?
No, that's incorrect. I tried to go
Nebraska.
one school from each conference is how I tried to do it. This was a Pac-10 school.
Oh, so that would have been
USC? No.
Washington?
Yes. It was Washington.
It was Washington?
But you did not.
It didn't count, though. Oh, well.
Your record, but you got 106 on this. That's what we're going to chart. 1 minute and 6 seconds is like your record on like the other one was. But the other one was points. We got all sorts of different tabulations here. We like the trivia. We like that you guys play the trivia. But that was really well done. You knocked the shit out of those first 5. You had the first 5 in 42 seconds.
Did it really?
Yeah. So I knew I was going to make the Washington one the last one because that was pretty tough.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Hard to remember if the great Brian Habib played his college ball.
He was a guard? Was he?
He was a guard.
Oh, well.
Let's do a Viking challenge for Sunday. What do you guys want to see? Throw your challenge.
Are we throwing the challenge flag out?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dave, you go first. What's your Viking challenge?
I want to see success. That's it. No, I want to see good communication on that Viking defense.
Okay.
Period. They can
Drew,
miss.
what's your Viking?
They could get beat, but as long as they're communicating, I'll be happy.
Here's my challenge flag, and I don't have anything to throw. The Vikings have 5 sacks in their last 3 games. 5. They got 1 week 10 against Dallas. The next week against the Broncos, they got 2, and against the Seahawks, they got 2. That's 5 in 3 games. That's not good enough. That's not, in my book, that's not good enough.
Yeah, I'd like to see Hunter go over 10 this week.
No, they had 50 sacks last year. They're on pace to break that. They were until they ran into this slow. They got 33 right now. We had 50 last year. So my challenge is to see at least 4 sacks this weekend. That would please me. 4. I think they could get them back into the swing. They had 5 against Kansas City, and then it dropped off. And we've had 5 the last 3 weeks. So I want to see 4 sacks by the defense. I don't care who gets them. Just get it.
Well, I'd like to see Hunter, I think, is sitting at 9.5. I think Griffin's at 8, and I think Onigbo's at 4.
Knock his Blough in the dirt. That's all I want to see, man.
I want him to get blowed over.
What's your challenge, Ted?
My challenge is to the Minnesota Vikings coaching staff. Mike Zimmer, Kevin Stefanski, George Edwards. Specifically Mike Zimmer. I just feel like this team has not been as prepared as they should be in recent games. I don't know. I don't know if it's an in-game adjustment thing. I find it hard to believe. I think they were very well prepared to play Seattle Monday night. They came out. They played very strong to begin the game, both on offense and defense. They took a 17-10 lead into halftime. I'm not sure what happens. I don't know if Zimmer has an affinity to players like we talked about with Rhodes, or if he just doesn't want to see what is obvious to what seems obvious to just casual observers like us, that there are noticeable declines in play in players. Play the best guys that give you a chance to win and roll with those guys. And if a guy is not doing well, one of the guys that can do it, but he's not, like Dave said and Drew said, bench him. Put him on the side. See if somebody else can't do the job, and if the guy can't, if nothing else, you'll send a message to the guy that's not performing. And I think that went well. Maybe message received to Rhodes late in the game against Seattle. Maybe by then I think it was too late. So let's not wait until you're down by 2 scores and you're playing this drastic come from behind catch up. Do it early before the game gets out of hand.
That's really well. So that's really well said. Coaching consistency. We got Dave with the player communication and me with the flat out sacks. Now that sounds like a damn good plan for a win.
It does.
Let's see. Red flag, baby.
What the hell is that?
No, it's the holder for my
ID.
Oh, I thought it was a barf bag from the bar, from the hotel bar.
No, it's not. Around your neck in the exhibit hall.
Chad, thank you for doing the show while being on the road. You look like a real gamer, dude.
Yep.
Just really going above and beyond.
No problem, fellas.
With that, we'll wrap this up. Going into Sunday, playing the Detroit Lions. Last words there, Drew.
I say meow meow Viking cow, and I will see you cats on the ITR flip flop later.
Ted.
Super Bowl homeboy, we'll see you back in St. Louis come Sunday.
Go!
Ever.